From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with huge news about your stocks, your bonds, your crypto, and your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over the latest details on the four stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state and how you can get them. Stay to the very end. Over this 1 hour broadcast, we have some breaking news and we have more checks at the very end of this video. Stay to the very end. Those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state are huge. And a new indication from a new poll says that consumer savings are dramatically down 15% year to date. And the great news is that one of those four stimulus checks that I have for you in every U.S. state is more than the average savings in Americans' bank accounts. Wow, I have incredible news about these checks coming up in this recording. The Build Back Better Act negotiations are back underway. A two-person team negotiating the provisions. We'll have the latest updates on their negotiations and those additional checks that the Build Back Better Act would give you on top of that. Christine Lagarde from the ECU Fed counterpart to Jay Powell overseas today said crypto is worthless. And that is on top of other comments today that cryptocurrency could bring down the financial market back at home. What's breaking news on this front today? You're going to be shocked. Next, we go over to the SS300 and Jay Powell, the Fed head, set to speak in less than 24 hours. What is he going to say, and what does that mean for your SS300 to potentially give you another $200 more per month if you're on benefits starting 30 days out? Build Back Better Act, not the only thing negotiating. Also, student loan debt forgiveness. Meetings are underway this week, insiders say, to get more debt forgiven. Whose debts would be forgiven for that student loans? I'll have the latest details in this breaking news report as well. Meantime, after we ended 7 consecutive weeks down of the stock markets and world economic leaders are in Davos, but I'm only here in Santa Monica, California, we'll go over what that means for this week and your money. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's better than Davos. It's Santa Monica, it's you, it's Afternoons LATE, and the excitement starts right here, right now, as Afternoons LATE starts for May 23rd. And good afternoon, everybody. Hope it's a beautiful day and hope your new week is going to be great. We're going to have a wonderful week together because there is big money. 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state, and I'm going to go over those incredible checks in this recording. Step 1 is to subscribe. Step 2 is to become a member. And step 3 is to get those checks. They're in the membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. These are checks you're not going to see anywhere else in the scope of broadcast media. Where is broadcast media today? They're not in Santa Monica, California. They're in Davos. So just get out of here. We will stay by the ocean, thank you, and enjoy the beautiful surf stimulus. With that, let's go over the incredible news today. We're going to go over to the Build Back Better Act, the negotiations back underway, the student loan debt forgiveness negotiations back underway, the oil, the wheat, the grain, the concern that these prices could go even higher. Then we're going to turn to the stock market. 7 consecutive weeks down. What's for this week? Jay Powell speaking less than 24 hours. Big impact on your benefits. What is he going to say? Then we turn over to the latest developing details on additional checks. Yes, stay to the very end. In the very end of this video, I have more checks for you. And with that, let's turn to the breaking news today for May 23rd, 2022. As we start a big day, Wall Street is relatively flat and calm to start another week of a tumultuous month in which 81% of Americans polled by a financial news channel say that the U.S. economy is going into recession. That means that they believe that the financial times of this economy are going from where they are today, not particularly good, to worse by the end of the year. In February this year, I was the only individual in broadcast news saying that this U.S. economy will be going into recession for 2 years starting in January 2023. But now, millions of Americans now believe that's happening later this year. What does this mean for you, and what does this mean for Build Back Better Act? A forced stimulus check is definitely needed, and you need to grab it today. You don't want to wait for it. Because what I'm reporting is that a stimulus stampede will happen in about 30 to 90 days from now. As millions of Americans start to feel the hurt of a looming recession out to sea, the wind will be blowing on land. And they're going to start running for checks. But the great news is that you're with me right today, and I'm going to show you how to get those incredible checks. Step 1, subscribing to this channel. Step 2, becoming a member. The membership link's under the video. And step 3, getting that newsletter Monday through Friday. Because these forced stimulus checks are in every U.S. state right now. They're huge, and they're not going to be around indefinitely. And when that stimulus stampede hits, when millions of Americans start to feel the hurt of this economy by the fall, oh boy. A new report released on Friday said that the consumer savings has dropped dramatically in 1 year. It was over $77,000 last year. It's down 15% year to date. Dramatic drop, less than $66,000 right today. The good news is that one of those forced stimulus checks I have for you is more than that sum of money. It's upwards of $80,000. Stay with me. It's coming up later in this recording, plus a new check later as well. What's important to understand is that those checks are in every U.S. state, but Congress is trying to give you additional checks, the Democrats, the senators, with the Build Back Better Act, passed in the House, currently in the Senate, and those will give you additional checks on top of the checks I'm getting you later in this recording. That Build Back Better Act would give you $15,000 to $80,000 of checks, and the negotiating teams are two individuals. Who are they? They are Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin. Those negotiations started no less than 2 weeks ago, as reported first on this channel. And the negotiations are going really well. Why is this very exciting news and great news for you? Number one, these two individuals have publicly said the future of Build Back Better Act. One, they want to get it done. Both of them say it. Number two, they want to get it done before the midterm elections. Number three, they say you need the money because you're hurting because of the economy. That is a universal sentiment among both Republicans and Democrats, that the hurt of this economy is there. But what I'm telling you right now, and that's why 81% of Americans polled in that new report last Friday said the same, the hurt you feel now is going to hurt a lot more by September. That's when the breeze of that recession out to sea starts to be felt on land. More about that in a second. The Build Back Better Act negotiations for Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer will result in a passage of a law. When? Well, they say they're going to get it done by Memorial Day weekend. I think it's really tight, folks. We're going to see by later this week if that's even possible. But I believe it's going to get done. Now, remember, when I say done, that's a vote, not an actual check in your hand. And then the question is, what is the it? 3 classes and 3 add-ons of Build Back Better Act is what we detailed on this channel over the last year. Will they all survive the negotiations of Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin? No, they will not all survive. How do we know this? Because Joe Manchin is very blunt. Chuck Schumer is very blunt. New York or West Virginia, between the two individuals, they tell you what they don't like. And based upon their statements, I can give you guidance right now on Afternoons LALATE about what I believe will survive and what I believe won't survive. This is analysis. This is not factually based, but it is based upon the actual statements these individuals have made over the last year. Let's look at those 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, and let's see which provisions would likely fall apart, but which would actually survive. The first add-on is $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. I think this would survive. This is the Maxine Waters provision from Southern California. She got it in there. And I think Joe Manchin wants this provision because it costs a lot of money to buy a house now. The mortgage rate's surging out of control from 3.2% less than February of this year to now 5.5%, could go even higher, and people in West Virginia can't afford to buy a home. Moreover, the housing market is slumping. So I believe that Joe Manchin would like this provision. Of course, Chuck Schumer would adore it because the housing prices in New York, of course, are out of control, and the glut will hit New York first. Remember, the recession hit New York first before the West Coast decades ago. All right, let's go to the second add-on. $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Will this provision survive? Absolutely not. Joe Manchin has made emphatically clear that any provision that increases the expenditure of Medicare or puts more stress upon Medicare, he will not support. His position is very clear. He believes that Medicare is broken and he does not want to spend any more money on Medicare. He does not want to spend it until Medicare is fixed. So I believe that provision will fall apart. Next, the MSC checks. We likely believe this would survive. Joe Manchin hasn't said one thing one way or the other. Again, that provision is $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. That is an add-on provision. It's not actually in the Build Back Better Act yet, but that incredible provision is something we have never heard Joe Manchin is against. Again, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Let's now go to the individual clusters and see which ones survive and which ones don't. Hazard pay for my essential workers. Of course, this would survive. There's nothing that I've heard from either of these individuals opposed to it. That is the earned income tax credit established by the American Rescue Plan, the third stimulus. Extended one more year under Build Back Better Act? Sure. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children. Yes, unless it's funded by Medicare, then no. $3,600 for the CTC one more year. This is a gray area. Joe Manchin is not really a big fan of the CTC, but he's never said he's against it. Home repairs? Yes, I believe that would survive, absolutely. Nutrition? Sure, that would survive. $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle? Yes, if it doesn't impute something else from energy, because remember, Joe Manchin has his very strong opinions about energy, of which he's the chairman of that committee. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. The home repairs is now a stimulus check. It is law, and it's coming up later in this recording. It is check A. But the paid leave, would that survive in the Build Back Better Act? Absolutely not. Joe Manchin made very clear he will vote against the Build Back Better Act if paid leave is in there. Now that there's only two people negotiating it, he's going to take it out. Paid leave was initially out, put back in by Nancy Pelosi in spite of Joe Manchin, and then he said take it out. Well, he'll take it out now across the board. Let's go to that third cluster. Checks for free internet? Sure, that'll stay in there. How about the farmers' checks? Absolutely. What about the seniors? No. Every single check for the seniors. All those Bernie Sanders provisions, I believe, would fall out. Again, this is spending money on Medicare. Dental, I think it's coming out. Hearing, coming out. Vision, coming out. Let's make it very clear. A lot of those provisions were not inherently in there, but Bernie said he was going to put them in there. All those provisions absolutely falling out of Build Back Better Act. And with that, let's recap. The Build Back Better Act, $15,000 to $80,000 of checks that would come to you in addition to the 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. But this is why you need to stay with this channel, stay throughout this video, because those 4 stimulus checks are available right now in every U.S. state. Viewers have gone to every U.S. state. And it starts by becoming a member and subscribing. When we talk about Build Back Better Act, they're not giving you a check in your hand in the month of May. They're not getting you a check in your hand by the month of June. It doesn't come that quickly. That is why you need to become a member and stay with me. I'm going to show you how to get these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state coming up in just a second. Build Back Better Act is supported by bad economic data. When the economy's not doing well, they want to give you stimulus. That's number one. And when the economy's not doing well, then it causes questions about SS300. Let me go over the economic news today and its impact on both pieces of stimulus. The economic data today is shocking. Consumer confidence was down earlier this year, says the Federal Reserve's annual survey of household economists and decision-making for 2021, a new report released today, May 23rd. It showed that 24% thought economic conditions were good or excellent. That was down from 28% during the pandemic and way down from 2019, in which it was 50%. 50% of Americans thought their economy was doing well in 2019. Then it went to 26% during the pandemic in 2020. And now we know it went to 24% last year. Where is it right now? Well, that's that poll from last week. That's 81% of Americans polled by a financial news channel where their reviewer said we're going to recession later this year. That's important to understand because let's understand how quickly the dynamics of consumer confidence has changed in just a few weeks. In February this year, I was the only broadcaster in American landscape recording that we're going to recession for 2 years starting in January. Then Deutsche Bank, the German bank, said the same in April, 2 months later. Thereafter, Morgan Stanley and a series of banks said things like maybe, possibly, risk. And even yesterday, over the weekend, one major Qatar Investment Authority CEO that is the number 9 largest wealth fund globally said words like recession light. They don't want to say the complete words. He says, I'm not saying we're not going to have a slowdown. I'm not going to say we may have a recession, but for now, I'm going to say it's going to be at least a light recession, at least a light recession. Well, the consumer confidence is imploding. Americans are really worried. And this comes after it started to really hit their wallet. Back in February, I said, while I'm predicting a recession, you're not going to hear a lot of other people talk about it for a few months. And you're not going to have a lot of people worried about it for a few months. Here's my guidance. If you feel pressures of recession coming on, you're really going to feel it in September. You're really going to feel it about 90 days out from now. That's when you're going to see the stimulus stampede. Americans aren't looking for stimulus in massive quantities just yet. They will, as they feel the hurt more dramatically. The hurt you're feeling right now is inflation. Recession is far different. And now let's learn a little bit more about those inflationary pressures, because some analysts now worry that could be going higher. What's going on? Last week, we had the Target, the Kohl's, the Ross department store corporate earnings. Days earlier, we had Walmart and Amazon. And what did some analysts in a fringe series of reports say? They said that if you look at those corporate earnings reports, those corporations said, we're going to start passing the cost of the supply chain over to you. We cannot absorb those supply chain costs anymore. You're going to see that price escalation. Oh boy. 8% inflation, potentially even higher. 12%? Let's take it back a step, folks. In spring of last year, in 2021, I was the only individual, and you heard it first on this channel, that said we're going to 8% inflation by December of last year, and it's going to be sustained. J. Powell had it very wrong. He said it was going to be much lower at 3% and transitory, temporary. Well, he had it wrong. Then he did a quarter basis point at the FOMC meeting in April. Didn't work. Then he did a half basis point in the May FOMC meeting. Didn't work. New indications today suggest that inflationary pressures are not going down. They're not going down. Jay Powell will be speaking tomorrow. What is he going to say? He's going to say, I have a talking cow for you. I already take credit for that, Jay. He's going to say, I'm getting inflation down to 2% later this year. Hilarious. Not happening. Not happening. It's going to track at 4%. This is why Joseph Biden, your president of the United States, needs to do two things. One, he needs to forgive that student loan debt forgiveness right today. And two, he needs to make that phone call to the Social Security Administration head and swap that COLA for inflation today. Why? That would raise your benefits up $200 more per month. Who? You. If you're on SSI, if you're on SSDI, veterans benefits, all of you, $200 more per month. Then, if inflation tracks at 4% later this year, as I'm projecting, then you get another $100. If inflation really stays at 8% into December, which would be horrific, then your benefits will go up $400 more per month. Joe Biden, make that phone call. Take this video, share it on social media. Tag POTUS, tag Joe Biden. Hashtag Joe make the call. Advocate. Hashtag LALATE. Hashtag Purple Power. Tell him to make that swap from coal to inflation right today, because all analysts, including myself, say the hurt currently of this economy is felt the most by low-income households and families on benefits. But that's just the hurt right now. When these recessionary pressures pick up in the next few months, you're going to feel even more hurt. And if those guidance from those analysts is correct, that some of these major retailers are going to start to pass the costs of the supply chain disruption onto you, you could see the price of those products going up even more. How much you're paying for milk? Post in the live chat. How much you're paying for gasoline? Post in the live chat. How much you're paying for bread? Post in the live chat. Here's the problem, is that the supply chain disruption is far more complicated than we ever thought. And that is why we're watching those numbers coming in this week. Tomorrow especially, for Tuesday, May 24th, we are going to see a sea of major retail numbers. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be watching them and have them for you. On Tuesday, we're going to have Nordstrom's, Best Buy, and Ralph Lauren and Petco, and Abercrombie and Finch among the corporate earnings reporting. What are we looking for? We're looking to see guidance on how the supply chain disruption impacted them. We learned a lot that we never knew last week about this. What do we learn? We learned that the supply chain disruption is not, I can't get the products. It's that the products came late. The big box retailers last week told us the following. They ordered the products, they did get there, but because of supply chain disruption, they came weeks late. Suddenly, they were out of season, out of fashion, and they did not sell. They stayed on the shelves, and Ross department stores dressed for less. You're going to dress even less because why? They had to slash the prices. The product were not selling. It was then out of season. And what happened? The store managers looked at the employees and said, "Why are so many of you here? We're not selling the products. I don't need all of you employees here." This is what Walmart said. "We brought back too many people from COVID, and we have too many people on the floor for the products that aren't selling." Does that sound scary? Yes, that's what we're going to look for Thursday. On Thursday, we're going to have the new jobless claims numbers. I'm worried about any number higher than 200,000. I'm even worried about 200,000 new jobless claims number. It's not good. When the corporations say we have product that's not selling, we have to start laying people off. Oh boy, here we go. This is what recession does. Recession starts with layoffs, then it has hiring freezes, then what do you ask for? More about that in a second. Here is what happens on also on Tuesday. New home sales are coming in on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have Leo Brainard speaking after Jay Powell speaks on Tuesday. Thursday is a bloodbath of corporate earnings. We have Costco, Macy's, and Dell, and Alibaba, and Burlington stores along with those jobless claims. Here's what I want to go over with you, and these are fascinating, helpful quotes. These came in on May 22nd. Julian Emanuel, head of equity research and derivative research at Evercore, said, "It's a process. The last week was scary in breaking through last week's bottoms, but these things take time. There's another step in the bottoming process." And here is the numbers I want you to hear. The whole thing comes down to whether it's going to be a recession or not. In the last three bear markets, stock market bear markets, where there was no recession, there was a decline of 21%. And we're basically there. This is important. The stock market, which has collapsed in 7 consecutive weeks, down dramatically, the fastest drop that we've seen since the 1920s, is now down 21%. But that's a bear market. That's not the type of bear market you have in recession. Here we go. This analyst's report, Julian Emanuel, says when there's a bear market and a recession, like 2000, 2008, and 2020, how far down does the stock market go? 48%. It means we're only halfway down. Boy, folks, here comes one of my favorite analysts, Art Hogan, chief market strategist at National Securities. He says we're going to likely see a focus on economic data. We're going to see durable goods this week. We're going to see the read on new home sales, and we're going to see the economic data, which is better than the market reaction to it. Yeah, Art Hogan's absolutely correct. The data is so important, and the data, in my opinion, is also as important as the corporate earnings. The corporate earnings is telling us that the data is sometimes delayed. What happened last week? We had housing numbers that were released, but when the housing numbers came in from the National Association of Realtors, its chief economist, what did he say? The data I'm giving you today, last week in May, is data from April, but it's for homes that went into sale, into contract, at the close of escrow back in January. Yeah, there you go. Back in January, we didn't have 5% mortgage rates. Now we do. We had 3% mortgage rates. So the hurt of the housing industry is not even in the data being released this week or this month. It's almost 2 months out. That is why you and I need to focus on those corporate earnings reports, because they, with the economic data, as Art Hogan says, will give us guidance on really where this economy is going. Here's something I want to scare you with. Not inherently. I mean, I could scare you with just wearing lobster shorts. I can scare you with a San Francisco hairstyle. I can scare you with air attacking you, or a talking cow that just runs after a loving scarf lady on the beach. No, I'm going to scare you with this one. Crypto. Christine Lagarde, whose name I love to say, who is the equivalent to Jay Powell. She is head of the European ECU Bank, the European Central Bank. She spoke this morning. What did she say? She said, crypto ain't worth a dime. Imagine if Jay Powell said that. Well, this is his counterpart. My humble assessment, that is worth nothing. She said crypto is worth nothing in a talk today. It's based upon nothing. There's no underlying asset to it to anchor its safety. I'm concerned about those people who think they're going to get a reward, who have no understanding of risk, who will lose it all and will be terribly disappointed. That's why I believe it should be regulated. And during her speech, some guy stood up and said, I've lost $7,000 in Cardano, the audience viewer said. And she said, that really hurts. She's not the only one who said that as well. Here is Guggenheim Chief Investment Officer Scott Maynard, who now predicts that Bitcoin, which is hovering at $30,000, could go down to $8,000. Really? Well, when you break down the $30,000 consistently, $8,000 is ultimately the bottom. And we have a lot more room for that fall. Let me give you my analysis. Do I think it's going to happen? I think there's going to be a massive crash. I've been detailing this a lot on crypto, which hasn't been on this channel for about 2 months. But what I said back 2 months ago is that the way that crypto works is that it is an item in people's portfolios. And when the rest of the portfolio is not doing well, like stocks or bonds or real estate, they got to come up with cash. And when they come up with cash, they liquidate, they sell the most risky asset. That would be the crypto. And I've talked a lot about Bitcoin and Ethereum with those resistance levels about 25,000, 24,000, or 1,000. This is really the risk at issue. And I do believe that a lot of people were sold snake oil in 2021. Doge to $1. You saw all those ridiculous videos that 1 or 2 or 3 guys were making. And, Cardano to $10, all that nonsense. That is where the hurt is going to be felt. Here's where the hurt is also going to be felt. With analysts and with individuals in certain industries that have sold you on things that is not a complete story. Let me tell you where this is going to hit the most. Real estate. Real estate, analysts were saying, real estate brokers who want to sell you a house or buy you a house and make their commission, that's their goal in the conversation, said 2 months ago that the housing market is great in New York because the average sale of a condo is $3 million. It's all cash and that everyone has cash. Here's what they're not telling you. No one has the $3 million cash sitting around. If you have $3 million of cash, it's not sitting around. It's invested in something like a Walmart stock or a Cardano. Well, guess what happens? When you want to go buy that condo and you want to liquidate something for the $3 million cash, you can do it when the market's up. When the market's down, it ain't worth $3 million. It's worth $1 million because it's down 30%. As we led early in this video, the markets are down 21%. If we're talking about stocks, if it goes down 40%, suddenly that $3 million is worth $1.5 million. You don't have enough to buy the condo in New York. Suddenly, this is how the implosion of markets evolve. It's an incomplete story unless you and I hear completely here. This is why I get you checks. A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state, but you're only going to hear it on this channel. Why? Because I take the effort to find you these checks. When finding forced stimulus checks is an art form, I'm the Picasso of that art form. It started back in March of this year as I sat and you sat and we watched the failure of Congress to get Build Back Better Act done. So what did I do? I looked high and low, research of hours, day in, day out, to find you forced stimulus checks. And I immediately delivered those forced stimulus checks to you, the viewership of this channel. And they're in every U.S. state. And there are more of them. They're in the end of this video. The great news is that the forced stimulus checks are available for you today. How do you get them? They're coming up in just 60 seconds. A forced stimulus check is one in every U.S. state. For you, if you're single, if you're married, if you have children, you don't have children, if you're on benefits, if you're on SSI, SSCI, veterans or not, if you're a retiree, if you work, if you don't work, if you own a home, if you don't own a home, if you rent, if you don't rent, I got checks for nearly every single one of you. And how do you get those incredible checks? You stay with me after the commercial break and we're going to go over them. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. The only broadcast media channel in America that covers this with this depth. 2, become a member. 3rd, get that credible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, delivered via the YouTube alert system. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these incredible checks. Then we'll be turning to that student loan debt forgiveness. Very exciting news on that front. I'm excited to report that for you. And then we'll be turning to where this recessionary environment is coming and why the price of gasoline is not done going higher. Yes, it's going to go higher. Why is this? I have the latest analysis in the second half. Stay with me as those big checks heat up, and stay to the very end as Afternoons LA heats up a second half. Become a member, and I'll see you back in 60 seconds on Afternoons. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now from May 23rd, 2022, from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's Afternoons LA. A big show today, and I'm excited you're here. In the second half of this video, we're going right into those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Then stay to the very end because I got other checks for you as well. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. The link to join the channel is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And with that, let's go over these incredible 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Let's take it back to March when we understand why this happened. Back in March, I was watching the negotiations of the Build Back Better Act, or lack of them at the time. And I said to myself, my viewers need checks. This is what I do. I get people checks. So I looked high and low, up and down, left and right. I did a lot of research, hours on hours between videos to find you a 4 stimulus check. I didn't find one. I found at least 4. A check A, a B, a C, lots of C's, as I affectionately number them or name them on this channel. It's for you. If you're single, if you're married, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, in every U.S. state. And it's so simple. I organize it in a way for you to get it. If you're new to this channel, let me tell you why this is happening. In April of last year, April 2020, this channel launched when millions of Americans were told you're going on lockdown because of COVID. Millions of Americans needed money immediately. They were about to lose their business. They were about to lose their home. They were laid off. What did I step forward? I helped people get applications in and get monster sums of money. PUA, FPUC, LWA, PPP, EIDL, EIDL grant. My job and my success story was getting people massive sums of money. But in December 2020, millions of Americans watched the negotiations of the second stimulus not get done. And that is when I had to step up and get more money again. You needed it, and I found it. It was rent and utilities and mortgage assistance, which ultimately became Check C now on this channel. Then, when third stimulus became law, I showed viewers how to get lots of money. And the viewers on this channel averaged out $45,000 for third stimulus. Now we are back with another hurt, and the hurt is this economy. And the hurt is the inflation. The hurt is the rising prices of everything from gasoline and milk, and you need more money. And that is why I started in March looking for those checks, and I found them. And with that, let's go over these checks right now. Broadly, you're not going to see this coverage anywhere in broadcast media. You're not going to see in print media or cable. They don't care. They don't do the research. I do. This is a unique only to this channel. Where do these checks come from then? They came from Joseph Biden by executive order. And they were announced in early March. I'm going to go over each of those checks, starting with the first one right now. You ready? The first 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state you can get is Check A. It is $6,500 to $12,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. It is. It's a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. It is $6,500 to $12,000. It is called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. Who gets it? You can get it if you make $75,000 or less, single individual, married couple, $150,000 or less, and if you're on benefits. How do you get Check A? So simple. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, go into the membership newsletter and go down to Check A. In that membership newsletter, you're going to see Check A in there, and all you do is click the link. It sends you into the online application to get Check A. Yes, Check A is an online application, and it's huge. Go get it. It's so straightforward. Then you're also going to do Check B. Check B is a $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check. Now hold up. Do you see that number? That is not a typographical error. It is not $80. It is not $8,000. It is $80,000. And this is a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Let's understand why these numbers are so monstrous. I don't play around here. I get big checks. I've been doing this since the very first days of this channel in 2020. I'm not here for $200 or $600 stimulus checks. I'm here for monster checks. No one ever got an $80,000 forced stimulus, $80,000 stimulus check in 2020. In 2022, that's what we're doing right now. Average view of this channel is getting 66 to 80,000. Imagine how much money that is. You can't imagine? Let me tell you how much money it is. A new report released on Friday last week said that the average savings of U.S. bank accounts is now at 66,000. It's down 15% from last year at 75,000. So Check B is more than most Americans have in their bank account. Why would you not go get Check B? Income qualifications, same as the last one. Single individual, 75,000 less. Married couple, 150,000 less. And if you're on benefits, go get it. How do you do it? So simple, just like Check A almost. Subscribe, become a member, go down in that membership newsletter, delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And there is Check B. You click the link, you go in and apply online. How simple is that? But you're not done there yet. You're also going to get Check C. Check C is for my renters. Yeah, you heard right. My renters and also my homeowners. It's a lot of money. It's averaging as an MSC of $2,000 a month for 12 months, but many viewers of this channel has averaged 45,000. Viewers have gotten upwards of $200,000 for Check C. It is the leftover a third stimulus, but it's the same thing we were doing back in 2020 on this channel, what I called purple, actually at the time. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. How do you get Check C? You subscribe, you become a member, then go into the membership newsletter. And for Check C, you are making phone calls. You're not applying online. Who do you call? What do you say? It's all in the membership newsletter. That's why it's so simple. As one person, Carol, once said just about 2 weeks ago, LA, you make it so simple. You put it all in the membership newsletter very basically so that viewers can go get these sums of money, those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You organize it so simplistically so that they can go in and get that Check C, that Check A, and that Check B. And there you go. Now, the other exciting news is that insiders now believe that the president will forgive more student loan debt this week and make it a finality. Oh boy, this is exciting. Who's the quote from? The quote is from someone who I featured before on this channel, and I like this guy. He's usually right on the money, so I'm putting my bets on this guy. He is Mark Kranowitz, higher education expert. And he says Biden's meeting with policymakers this week to advocate for who are advocating for student loan debt forgiveness, and an announcement will be imminent. In all likelihood, student loan debt forgiveness will be limited in eligibility and amount, so you cannot count on raising it all for all student loan debts. The president has already forgiven student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, individuals whose debts were procured by fraud by the university against them, and then for individuals whose debts were in default, they've been put in good standing. Meantime, for individuals whose debts were due in May, they were rolled over to September. What is all in likelihood going to be announced by the president? I'm predicting it's going to be 10,000. The president has emphatically said no to 50,000. And here's my takeaway on the situation. Joe, just do it right now. I had always said he's holding this for the midterm elections, but it's not looking good. I tell you why. He's looking angry every time that someone says it's 50,000. I'm not doing 50,000. He doesn't look happy about the question. Why? Because he doesn't want to do 50,000. He should just do the $10,000, move on, and take the win, take the victory lap on this one. This would wipe away countless debts for millions of Americans, and it's great news across the board. What else does Joe Biden need to do? Obviously, make that phone call to the Social Security Administration head and tell them to swap COLA for inflation. How does this work? When running for president of the United States, and then his platform at joebiden.com, he said he's going to swap that COLA for inflation. Swapping it now is what's needed because inflation is the highest price point of a generation. Last summer, I said swap it by December. Well, I was right. Inflation came in at 8% as I projected last summer. It was 8% in December. It is still 8% right now by all indication. Joe should not wait for inflation to come down later this year. It will go down. If he makes that swap today, you'd lock in $200 more per month, as all those analysts and even corporate America, like Jeff Bezos has said. The people who are hurt most by this rising inflation is low-income individuals, households on benefits. Make that swap, and that would alleviate a lot of financial strains for a lot of Americans right today. That's why it's so important to make that swap across the board. Those comments come as millions of Americans have really woken up in less than a few weeks. Can you imagine what's happened on this channel? In February, I said we're going to recession, and at the time, no one was talking about recession. Now everyone's talking about recession. In February, I said it could be stagflation. At the moment, no one's talking about stagflation. What is stagflation? What is really recession? Stagflation means recession and inflation. When was the last time we had recession? Well, the last time we had recession was just a few years ago, in 2008. You know, some people call the pandemic recession, but really it was 2008. Most Americans of adult age millennials have not experienced a recession, but most Americans of adult age have never experienced stagflation. That's when you have recession and stagflation. What's the takeaway? The takeaway is the hurt. The hurt of a looming recession is going to be felt by September, or at least 90 days out from here. You're watching this channel today. Thank God. God bless, because you can get these checks today. 90 days from out, I don't know how much checks are going to be available. They may be diluted. They may have been eaten up. There's going to be a stimulus stampede. There's going to be a stimulus stampede because the stocks will be down even more, down 20% now. They're going to go down 40% if we're going to recession. The bond market will go up higher. The crypto, if Christine Lagarde and these other people are correct, is going to really take a massive hit. Not down 20%, down 60, 70%. Real estate is already taking the hit right now. The housing start data comes out tomorrow. So suddenly people can start to feel hurts left and right, and that's before all those worries about that supply chain disruption bringing prices even higher, before that kicks in. And guess what else could get worse, or will be getting worse? Gasoline. Gasoline has really gone up staggeringly in the last few days. Yeah, from where it even went up back in March. Let's recap. Back in March, when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, I said the gasoline is going to go up. And it did. And I said it's not sustainable until the month of May. What has happened? Gasoline's actually gone higher now in the month of May. The AAA national average of gasoline is featured every night in the membership newsletter for you so you know what's going on, along with the international price of Brent crude, gasoline, oil. What do we see? It's gone up very quickly, that AAA national average in the pumps here in the United States. From 414 to 454 nationwide average, how much are paying posting the live chat right now? Well, my projections to you, and I think I'm right, is that the price you're paying right now is going to go up substantially even higher. Why? For two parts of the equation. One, the international price of Brent crude is relatively stable for no less than 3 weeks at $112 a barrel, while the price of the gasoline at the pump is actually going higher. This signals that as soon as Brent crude goes higher, you're going to go higher. Number two, why would Brent crude go higher from where it is, and how high will it go? My projections is Brent crude internationally will go to 120. Why? Why will it go from 112 to 120? Because China is coming off of lockdown in June, presumably. And as China comes off of lockdown, what does that mean for you? It means that they're going to be back consuming gasoline. They're not. They're currently in lockdown. And when they go back to consuming gasoline, that will cause more shortage of gasoline. It will increase the prices internationally and increase it for you. Scary? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in a very day in which a lot of things that are hurting are going to hurt more. What do you need to know about this? What you need to know about this is there's a complete story out there. And sometimes people who have a financial stake in the story don't tell you the complete story. Some financial analysts for the last 2 weeks have been telling you it's sort of a dip. Get ready. We're done. As one, I had the quote. I had the quote for you 2 weeks ago. One person said the tech bleeding of tech stocks is done. Absolutely not. Why would the tech bleeding of tech stocks down in May be done when we're going to recession next year? Recession means you go further down. We're not in the recession yet. No one thinks we're in the recession yet. So that's sort of obvious buffoonery. Jay Powell, 2% inflation last year. More buffoonery. It's just untrue. And what about the housing data? That everyone's paying all cash for a condo in New York at $3 million, and everyone has a lot of $3 million cash sitting around. Not true. The way they come up with the cash is they sell something else. They sell their crypto. They sell their stocks. No one is going to sell their stocks if the stocks are already down 29% in 2 weeks. They're not going to sell their stocks to go buy a condo. They just won't buy the condo. They'll keep their cash, their stock position. And then what happens? What happens is that the indebtedness, how much debt that people have, starts to manifest itself. I don't know this number, nor do you. How much debt did people take on to go buy some Doge coins? How much debt did someone take on to go buy some Tesla stocks? How much debt does someone have in a home? Do they have a flexible rate mortgage? What you need to know is that if you have anything that is flexible based, get rid of it. If you have credit card debt, pay it down right away. If you have a flexible rate mortgage on that home, switch it to locked in. Don't let it continue to be flexible because Jay Powell, it's guaranteed. He's doing half basis point increases at those FOMC meetings indefinitely. So those interest rates are going up. We know that, and we know it's not going to fix inflation, but he's still raising it up. He told us that last week. How serious is this? He said last week, buried amongst the bloodbath of the Target earnings reports, Jay Powell said, I'm raising interest rates until I get inflation down. Translation, he ain't going to stop. He ain't going to stop and it ain't going to work. He's going to do a half basis point in June, half basis point in July. He's going to keep on doing it until someone says, wait a second, Jay, it ain't working. You've been doing this since February, since March, and it ain't working. What is it going to do? It's going to bring all your flexible items, credit card debt, student loan payments, car loans, anything that is flexible, more money per month. And that is why the stimulus stampede will start to really be felt. That recession is out to sea. The wind is blowing on land, and yet the wake-up call or the real hurt has not yet happened. And what is going to happen when the real hurt kicks in? People are going to ask questions like it's 2020. You saw them in some of the questions in the live chat yesterday. In 2020, I didn't have to do this. Come on. Let's wake up. This is 2022. This ain't 2020. Guess who's also going to say that? Someone's going to come in the live chat in August, say, I just laid off from my employer. Do you have some PUA? No, it doesn't exist anymore. Do you have any FPC that's $600 more per week? No, it doesn't exist anymore. What do you mean it doesn't exist? It doesn't exist anymore. My business, we don't have customers coming to the store. Do you have any more of that EIDL grant of 10,000 or 5,000? No, it doesn't exist anymore. EIDL loan? No, it doesn't exist. Well, what are we going to do? That's why I'm here. The checks I have here is not a picker's market, I guess you would say. It's not like you could sit back and say, I'm just going to wait around for that EIDL grant in 2 months from now. I'm just going to wait around for that FPUs. I'm just going to wait. No, it just doesn't exist. These checks exist. And that is why it's going to be a stimulus stampede. It's going to be a run on the stimulus that's available. And that is why this channel exists. This is why the research I put in and the efforts you put in to get these checks are at issue. That is why you need to go get these checks today. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that membership newsletter right away. Also, remember the following steps. Subscribe, become a member. Then at the front of this channel, there's a little bell. Make sure you hit that bell to all notifications. Number 3, if you are a member and you're having problems or confusion about the membership newsletter, send me a private message on Facebook, and I will send you some information, including an informational video made just about the newsletter. People love it. They think they say it solves all their questions in just a blink of an eye. It's only a few minute video. It's very simple. And with that, watch all the videos. Please watch the videos, because in a given day, there's so much financial news and I can't overlap the videos' contents. The videos have new content throughout the day. And what do we have? We start before sunrise, on sunrise at 3 and 3:30 a.m. Then we go into early mornings LA at 4. Mornings countdown 7. Mornings LA 9 a.m. live on air. Then noontime 11 a.m. Then the 1 o'clock afternoon show, the 3 o'clock afternoon show. Then the evening shows heat up at 5 o'clock with Evenings LA, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. 6 o'clock, countdown, 7, Street and Stimulus, 8, Extra, 9, Sunset. And then we also have our overnight shows after 9 o'clock. Meantime, we have that live show that starts every night at about 5:45. It's LALATE Live. Meantime, get ready to see where this channel's going, because we have some big surprises for you coming in just a few weeks. I'm very excited to show you what we got. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it ain't Davos, but I think it's a little bit better. While analysts are over in Davos talking about Jay Powell, I'm here, and I'm still talking about Jay Powell. While they may be wearing lobster shorts, I am just staying away from the lobster shorts. While the price of the lobster shorts may, because of supply chain disruption, going up in price, I'm still not buying them. And that is why you need to get a check. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member and get those incredible checks in every U.S. state. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. I'll see you tonight on Evenings LA as another show heats up. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.